You're the guy people call when they need a helping hand, moving furniture, unloading a truck. But lately, your shoulder's been acting up, and you're the one who's calling for help. And that's the moment you realize you can no longer shoulder the load.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with a range of surgical and non-surgical treatments. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 654, Cheat Meals with Zeb Crawford.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. Oh my goodness, one of the Pound This Podcast OGs from the Wait a Minute podcast days. Wait a Minute and Pound This. So like you've been here through, over 3 years of podcast. Zeb Crawford, welcome back.
Thank you. I've seen it all. I feel like I've truly seen it all. Yeah.
Well, I was just looking up, one of the first times you were on this podcast. It was episode 10, which was February something, 2018. I just looked it up, which was like 1 month into this podcast. And then we both worked in the same building. So I was at the radio station. You were at the digital company. And then I met you because one of the salespeople for the radio station, you were in the kitchen with both of us and we were talking about weight loss and you walked out. She's like, "Oh, I'm surprised he didn't chime in." I'm like, "Why? Who's that?" She's like, "That's Zeb. He's a personal trainer." I'm like, "There's a personal trainer that works here."
Yeah, the guy always standing and eating awkwardly of meals that people could never understand, like what they were.
You got to meet your macros, bro.
Just however, just throw some peanut butter on some turkey and run with it.
So, things have changed so much for both of us. I haven't seen you in person in over a year, #COVID.
Yeah.
And since then, I left my job at the radio station and you left your job there.
I did. So I did not realize that until now. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's so funny that, obviously you're well in tune with the health and wellness space. But where, I chose a new career in health and fitness, and now you're working for NuEthix, which is awesome because how many people I've had on this podcast, like Stephanie and Jason, and I know Erica Fitlove works with you guys. And so now what's your official title? What do you do for NuEthix?
So I'm the acting COO of NuEthix.
Fancy.
I know it does sound so fancy. I'm like, ooh, look at this business card. That looks way more professional than I would ever see myself. But no, it's super cool. And it just allows me to do like I always tell people, everything I've done in the last 10 years, whether it's training, being an athlete for supplement companies, just constantly being around supplements and nutrition and coaching, I kind of just get to do. And then obviously my, 6-7 years plus of marketing, social media, digital advertising, everything, just to kind of run it all together. And that's my job role. So I just kind of encompasses everything, but to be passionate about it with a group of people that not only are they friends of mine that I've known for, 12 plus years, but people that I have the utmost respect for, Jason, Stephanie, Vince, the athletes, Erica, everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for somebody that doesn't know what NuEthix is or what you guys do, can you explain?
Yeah, so NuEthix Formulations, we're just a supplement company based out of, I guess you could say, Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati is kind of where we started, and more of where we are supplements, but it's something where it's a little more different than what you'd see when you go into a GNC or vitamin shop, where there may be a lot of. You may stop.
Sorry, no, you're fine. I was just for everyone listening, my podcast studio is in the basement of the gym. And I have never heard this loud ass noise before, but whoever is working out up there.
It must be a new workout, like a jackhammer.
Hell.
Yeah.
Dang. It just hammers home the point that we're all about health and fitness, right?
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, just hammering it away.
But anyway, so we wouldn't see NuEthix stuff at GNC.
No, not right now. Not saying we would never be in there, but typically you go into those spots, you're going to see, like fat burners, pre-workouts, things like that. And we're more about kind of helping people from the inside out. So a lot of our products focus on gut health, thyroid health, anxiety, stress, better sleep. We do have a couple, things like protein and, something with like BCAAs in it and things like that. But like I said, ours are very kind of more overall wellness. So it's just something cool to see and being able to help people, and especially over the last, with COVID, things like that. Everyone's had a lot more stress and anxiety and, trouble sleeping. And it's cool to see our products play such a big role in that.
Yeah. I mean, I've taken Cordy's before, and that will put you to sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, I take a couple every night, and that definitely helps me have some better sleep. So.
Well, and I have not had your guys' protein powder yet, because I know that's somewhat new. But I did. Actually, it was just like a week ago, someone texted me and said they were looking for a cleaner protein powder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm like, I haven't had this personally yet, but I know that NuEthix has, takes pride in having cleaner ingredients.
Yes.
So I recommended that to them.
Yeah, we appreciate, because we do. It's one of those to where we tell people like, hey, like, you're taking away protein, like turn it around, like look at the back, like count the ingredients. And typically you'll see a lot of proteins, 10, 15, sometimes 20 plus ingredients, usually due to, fillers or maybe artificial flavors, things like that. And ours, we have 3 flavors, chocolate, vanilla, and peanut butter, and they have 5 ingredients total.
Nice.
Which is insane. So a lot of these people, you do protein because it's easier. It's a good way to, just get that, extra protein in as like a shake or maybe in the morning or a post-workout something. But a lot of times it'll kind of give you that weird, like they say, like kind of rock gut. It messes with your belly a little bit just because of, it tastes good usually. Well, ours, is going to be the opposite. It's going to be much cleaner. So we always say it's going to make your belly a little more happy and still give you that good source of protein.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you got to be like loving the new gig. That seems way more fun than digital.
Way more fun. And, it's just like, something that, you're passionate about. Like I said, it doesn't feel ever like work. And people always kind of say, to strive for something like that. And I still kind of have to, wake myself up from that.
Yeah.
So, I'm very happy.
And you've gotten engaged since the last time I've seen you.
Yes, I've gotten engaged. Did that in November. Yeah.
Which is fun because whenever you were first on the podcast, you were like single and looking.
It was like single, and like everyone in the building was like trying to like set me up or sign me up for the Bachelorette or to like go onto like my Tumble and Bumble and Tinder and go swipe crazy. And then, from that to now engaged and planning a wedding for next year. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Are you guys going to do a wedding in Cincinnati, destination wedding?
A little south. So it'll be in northern Kentucky still, about 20, 25 minutes south of Cincinnati. Okay. So that way it's still kind of close to all of our family and friends in Cincinnati, and kind of a big area out there. It's like one of those barns that they built like just for stuff like this. Nice. It's insane, like a barn on steroids. It's crazy, but it'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know we're going to talk about cheat meals, which, speaking of episode 10, we talked about before, but 3 years later, again, like everything, attitudes change towards everything. And I know that's something that people ask me about a lot is, should I do a cheat meal? Should I do a cheat day? Or, your treats and stuff like that. Or people ask me all the time, what are your cheat meals and what do you do? And it's just, man, whatever they're doing up there.
It is.
I don't even know what that could be.
No, I mean, it doesn't
ropes,
seem like,
they're really
battle chains.
Yeah, right? Dang. Earning the cheat meal. Got to tie that in there. And if you guys cannot hear this in the recording, they're doing slamming something around in the gym.
It's crazy.
Right? And so, I think that's something that I get asked a lot about. And I guess that we can kind of discuss the philosophy behind it, because you can call it a cheat or you can call it a refeed or kind of whatever you're doing. I'd say that if it feels good to you and it feels like it's, something where, as long as you're not restricting yourself so much during the week where you hate what you're doing, that it's like your only like island of escape, then I don't think that's a healthy way to do a cheat meal, because I guess that is really called a cheat. Then it's like, well, then you're cheating on a diet. You're not really living a life if it's like the one star in the universe that you're looking forward to. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think you've really got to like find a way to, like mentally make it work. Like you said, whether maybe you don't want to call it a cheat, maybe you want to call it a free meal, maybe it's a reward because you had an awesome week, you got your meals in and this, and so like I'm rewarding myself, with this meal, or like you said, refeed. Sometimes it's just someone like, all right, I really want to like just go a little heavier on carbs, and I'm going to kind of like treat this as like a refeed and reward myself with, extra, something, pizza or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think like mentally though, you've got to like find that ground to where you feel like you're rewarding yourself, but you're not feeling like you're cheating yourself, to where you're like mentally. That's why I tell people, I'm like, never weigh yourself after you had like a night of drinking or a bunch of crazy, like you ate a bunch, because you're always going to like mentally mess yourself up because you're going to be heavy. You're going to have that extra sodium or water weight. So I'm like, don't do things that are really mentally going to mess you up.
Yeah. And I think too that it's also just kind of give you more like relaxed life. And again, I think the key to doing this, no matter what you call it, is to have like a plan around it. I don't know, I'm such a meal planner anyway, of like kind of knowing like, you know what, I'm going to kind of stick to my goals and my plan all week, but I know Saturday night I'm going to a wedding.
Yeah.
And for me anyway, I think that to think of a free meal or a cheat meal means like, I'm not going to worry about the calories in this. I'm not going to log every single White Claw. I'm not going to think of all the points or whatever you're doing, of just kind of like, no, this is kind of where I get to let it go for a second. And I think that the mental letting go is the bigger relaxer than the actual food, of just kind of like, I'm just going to enjoy myself, and I'm not going to, have to have a conversation with myself like every time I'm eating, like you usually do whenever you're trying to stay focused on eating a healthy lifestyle. Because again, it's like 80-20. You want to stay focused most of the time, and then have those kind of breaks where you're like, yeah, I'm going to just live my life, and that happens.
It's the same. I think we were just talking, just catching up, of you've kind of, like you said, mentally unplug, like with social media, like you really like, you want to like keep up with it, especially if you're running a business or you're promoting yourself somehow, or you're an influencer, but you also have to like mentally unplug and, just be okay with that, because then you can like come back into it, like feeling good about it. Like you said, if it's a wedding, or maybe you're taking the boat out on like, like Saturday, like just enjoy. Like you don't, like you said, you don't have to count like, oh, how many seltzers have I had? Or, oh my gosh, like, what was on that sandwich you just gave me? Yeah. Like, no, because then you're mentally already stressing yourself out. And then you're going to be the one not having fun. You're going to be the one that, instead of like jumping in on the picture, you're going to be the one over here, like you said, on your phone, like on, your MyFitnessPal or whatever you're doing, of like trying to add up like, oh my gosh, I had 5 White Claws and I had this, and I think it had peanut butter on it. I'm not sure. It tasted good though. Just like enjoy it. It's not going to ruin your whole week or your month or, your 5 months of, progress. Like you're fine. You move on, you have fun with the day, and you get back to it then like the next day and that next week, and you keep pushing. Yeah.
That's where I think too, just the mental space into going into it, knowing, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have, a meal a day, whatever it is. But I know that I'm going to feel good about it. I'm not going to trash myself. I'm not going to tell myself I'm a piece of crap. I can't stick to my goals, like all the whole negative self-talk angle. And that you also know that the next day is like, okay, well, let's get back on to, not power eating chalupas.
That's the thing I was thinking as you were like talking of like, don't let it, like be a domino effect. Yeah. Let it be. It's just like Saturday, like you said, it's Saturday, or Friday night we have a wedding, whatever it is, like you've kind of like got it leading up to that, but like don't let, Friday's wedding turn into Saturday's like, oh, let's just go out to eat all day. And then that turns into Sunday, brunch. And then we just like end up picking up fast food. Like don't let it, because if really then it's hard to get back on the track from there. Yeah. But, just like you said, like, have fun, enjoy, but then let that, it's a new day that next day. Don't let it domino into 3 days of, picking out. Yeah,
which is difficult.
Yeah, it is hard because
like on vacation.
Yeah, and so you get that taste of, vacations, are a little tough. That's, where, that would almost be a whole other conversation of kind of planning for that. I'm a big person that like, I take a lot of food with me. Yeah. And it's very, very easy stuff. It's not like exactly my diet, but it's close enough to where, again, mentally, I feel much better about it, and my gut feels much better about it, as opposed to eating 4 or 5 crazy meals. I'm like, nah, I'm still going to get 3 or 4 of basically my normal meals. And then I still like just enjoy myself, dinner, or maybe it's a big breakfast, or maybe we're out on a boat and they have some, appetizers with our drinks or something.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to remember too, just like how it makes you feel. Because and again, if you are on a vacation or you're doing something, you also don't want to feel like bloated and yuck. So kind of being mindful of like the choices you make there, again, where you're not depriving yourself, but it's like, okay, well, I don't want to feel like you could roll me out of here and feel like trash for the rest of the day either.
I feel like so many people prep for, especially when you think of like beach trips or lake, or you're going to be on a boat, like you're going to be maybe in like a bathing suit, or maybe guys, you're going to have like your shirt off or something. You're, playing volleyball or something. Like that's another thing of like, are you more satisfied like eating this crazy meal you saw while you were walking, or maybe, at your restaurant, or could you be a little more conscious with a meal, and then you feel better that next day or whenever, when you're out in your bikini or in your bathing suit like all day long. So it's one of those, because I feel like most people, they work their butt off, especially like we know this as like, trainers and like, people very into health. Most people will work for 3, 4, 5 months because they have that, we're going to the beach and I want to look a little better and feel comfortable and I want to be confident. Like, well, you're going to be a little more confident if you're just a little more self-conscious and like still enjoy yourself, but keep in mind, like, you're going to, you want to feel good.
Yeah, or you don't want to spend the day on the toilet either.
Yeah, on the toilet, or like you said, bloated to where like, oh my gosh, I look like I'm pregnant. I swear I'm not.
Yeah. Well, and I just had this conversation the other day too, about like cheat meals, because I've had this experience before too, where, you're staying so committed to your healthy choices, and then you have like a cheat meal, and then you like gain 5 pounds from that one thing, even if it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people will have fear from doing that because of this weight, and because it's all such a mental game. And I think, I don't know if you would recommend the same thing, just having that experience myself, I'd be like, well, that's at a point then you might want to think about doing like a reverse diet and get into like maybe a healthier caloric range, because it's like if you are eating such low calories that you bump the calories up for one meal or one day and it is just wrecking your week, there's something that's not balanced.
Yeah, like that happens a lot in most, I know a lot of coaches, a lot of athletes, and you've got to do it. Like you've got to have both ways. You've got to shock your system, just like what you would with like, muscle, your muscles. Like after a couple months, you've got to change your workouts up because your body starts to really get used to those movements and used to those same, exercises. Same with like a diet. Like you could be saying like, okay, I've had a great month. I've been losing, a couple pounds a week, but these last couple weeks I've just really kind of hit a plateau. I've been struggling, and even, I kind of shock my system and will, have like a nice like cheat meal on the weekend, but still I just like cannot budge. Well, maybe your metabolism in your body, you really just kind of shock the system. So to your point, you've kind of almost got to refeed. You've got to like work in the other direction, where people freak out. Like every time like I do this with people, and I'm sure you've experienced it, or maybe even when we used to work together, of like, all right, we actually got to give you a little more food.
Yeah.
People will usually push back, but you almost have to. You've got to like, your insulin sensitivity, like everything, your metabolism needs to be shocked, or else you're going to keep hitting that plateau, and eventually it's going to fight against you, and you're maybe even going to put weight on because your body's so used to that same, whatever, I've been eating these 1,800 calories at this, 50%, protein, blah, blah, blah. Like you've got to shock the body a little bit. So I would recommend people just to keep that in mind, that like don't freak out, that every once in a while, every couple of months, you really have to kind of you take one step back to take 2 or 3 steps forward.
Yeah. And I think that's just so much of the process that is you just got to learn through, you know what I mean? And that's the part it makes it so freaking hard, where it'd be nice to be like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
But every body reacts so differently. It's like, well, you have to do all this experimentation with your own body of like, you got to move around what your macros are, move around your calories, and move around your workouts. And like, because you're constantly growing and aging, and things change, and your body is changing with the changes you're making. So it's like a constant, chemistry experiment that you have to always like fidget with until you die.
Yeah. I was gonna say exactly. Yeah.
Which is, I think that's part of it is enjoying the process of kind of knowing that. I mean, if you see that as a prison and not seeing it as helping your body, fueling your body, feeling the best that you can mentally and physically and going through that, I don't think that it's really easy to kind of make those little experimental changes, because you're just like, tell me the one thing and I'm done. And I think that's where it's a lot of people are just like, okay, I'm out. It stopped working. I plateaued. I'm going to dip, instead of, well, why don't we try moving this around and this around, and then finding kind of the new sweet spot again.
I mean, that's with anything. I mean, you need to just, to me, I think it's fascinating that like we can like change our bodies. Like, I mean, like I'm always amazed when people just don't think that's like so crazy. To me, I think it's so cool that, if you want to like lose weight, or you want to gain muscle, or you want to become more like flexible, or anything like that, like we have the control, whether you, like you said, learn a little bit more on your own, or you go to someone who can really just tell you of like, here's your macros, or here's your meals, and here's your workout, here's what you need to do, and like that changes, or you work with a coach and a trainer. But like you can really like, and even in the age is only still like a number. Yeah, it's tougher as you get older. You can't just jump right into it as like, say, like a 20-year-old that like jumps on a clean diet. But still, like I see people all the time, like older, that are making these changes. People that like I haven't worked out in forever and now they are, or people that get on a healthy diet and they feel so much better. Like, I mean, we have the control. Cheat meals don't have to delay that. You can still like incorporate things like that, and you can still enjoy yourself and go to weddings and go on trips. But I mean, to me, it's just amazing. Like, that's why like once I started doing it like 12, 13 years ago, like I never looked back, because I'm like, I have control of how I look and how I feel, and the energy that comes with that. And to me, that's amazing.
Yeah. Are you looking to ever compete again?
I don't know. It's one of those to where like I love the process. Like I've always considered myself like a bodybuilder, because like I eat that way, I train that way, I track everything, and everything I do is revolved around I'll bulk up, then I'll cut down, but each year I'm always trying to like be at a higher weight, but like keeping that lean, just to know that like, oh, I put on a few pounds of muscle like each year. But I don't ever have that like itch like some people, or that fire to be on stage. Like I know a lot of people that means something to them, or maybe they have a business and they're coaching, and then that helps them start a business, because especially with like social media now, that it is big, because typically when you see people compete, they know that they put in a lot of work to get there. But to me, I've accomplished a lot, and obviously now I'm like kind of in a dream role. I don't need to be on stage for people to believe me, or to like think that I'm passionate about health and fitness. To me, I just love to live the lifestyle and train that way and eat that way, and to like look that way without the whole tanning and this and pain and going to different cities and trying to qualify for this or that. I respect it like crazy. I love it and grew up loving Arnold and the whole sport, but I don't know if I ever will. At this point, it's not looking like it, but who knows? Maybe in a few years I'll just like be at a really good point in life to where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a go again.
Yeah.
And if so, then I feel like I always keep myself in a good position to where I could jump into it if I give myself a good half a year or so to kind of really mentally get ready for that.
What's awesome is you're surrounded by such great coaches too.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
And so, I mean, we were friends before, that I was talking about like Jason and Vince. I haven't met Vince, but I've met Jason several times, and who's been on this podcast, and he's like an incredibly smart human, and I've never had him as a coach, but just from everything that I've heard, is just like a master at it. So it's like nice that now you like work together of like, okay, I got this dude that could like,
transform, if he sometimes he'll kind of like not poke at me, but he was always the one of like, sure, you don't want to like jump in a show in a few months. But it's cool because like, again, like he's a friend, but he is considered like a guru in the bodybuilding industry. To your point, he is like a kind of a genius when it comes to that. They actually, I think we coined the term like hashtag like master macro manipulator. So if there's anyone who can manipulate people's macros and like their diet alone to, trigger their body to, to eventually look a certain way, he's one of the best to do it. And it's really cool. And then you throw in his, mind when it comes to supplements and things like that, and training. It's just,
I mean, that's what's cool that, being such a part of NuEthix of like, this dude knows what's up.
He knows what's up. Yeah. And then Vince, like you said, you haven't met him. Like, it's just a team of people that know, health and fitness like inside and out, and then you throw in the extra knowledge of the different, like medicine and things like that. It's quite a team of good people and, friends and just people that like to help others. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. So if somebody was interested in checking out NuEthix, or is anybody even offering any coaching right now, or is it that off the table and it's just supplements right now?
Yeah, I mean, no, like, I know like Jason and Vince, they all are always offering coaching, things like that. I mean, and that's cool because then you know that they are some of the co-owners and formulators for NuEthix, especially anyone on Vince's team and Jason's team, because they are the two main people that formulate everything we do. But if you want to get, look at our supplements, learn more, you can actually read more about like me, Jason, Steph, anyone like that. You just go to NuEthix.com, which is NuEthix.com.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Over like a brutal, crap year that 2020 was, of like, kind of getting your dream job and getting engaged. Like, I'm so happy to see like happy stories.
Well, especially, because then, like I said, when we came from, you look at us 3.5 years ago, and not that we weren't happy or, still doing cool jobs, but just to see both of us in a position to where we're like watching, like taking our passions and kind of dreams and just weaving them into, basically our day-to-day career.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm a personal trainer now. How crazy is that?
I was going to say,
thought that whenever we started doing this thing.
Oh my gosh. I mean, everything. Yeah. I mean, you're doing the meals and everything. Like, I'm blown away by everything you're doing as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I just think that being that we kind of, you were on the bandwagon with me at the beginning of this podcast, and exactly why I wanted to have you on the podcast, and every guest that I have, is just the real passion for health and fitness, not just selling you a BS story or crap or whatever to make money. It's like, obviously we care so much about this that it's like our lives, and now it's our jobs, and like that we really care about people being healthy and fit. Yeah,
I mean, there are, because there's a lot of people out there. Like, I mean, there's a lot of good. I don't want to say that, you have to kind of weed through all the bad to get to good, but it's just, nice because there are the pyramid schemes and the, like you said, the things out there are people that, like I mentioned, that, maybe only get into like a bodybuilding or a similar sport because of like the flash or the photos or the stage and stuff. But it's nice when you have like you and me, Jason, all these people that you've, came across, people here at your gym that are in it like for the long haul. It wasn't just a period where I'm going to try this out. Like, no, we've, done it through COVID, like through working full-time jobs and side jobs and gosh, just every little thing, and now kind of coming out on the better side of things and pushing forward.
Heck yeah. Well, you'll have to come back now.
I've got to come back. I've got to, maybe, I mean,
not as often as when we were in the same building.
I mean, that's a little tougher, but we can, we can do like an every other month or something.
Yeah, dude, that'd be cool. Well, thanks for coming back on, and it was good seeing you.
Yeah, thank you.
AmandaValentineBites.com